Hi, I'm Xander, and welcome to my channel. You may be able to hear my cat eating in the background, but never mind. Um, I'm a poet, I'm a songsmith, and my channel is about my creative process, the ideas that led to the crafting or composition of a poem or a song or a chant, the performance of that song or poem or chant to the best of my ability, and then um, about it, the nuts and bolts of it, the whys and wherefores of it, the crafting of it. Before I go into any of that, I would like to pay my respects to the Wadawurrung people on whose lands I'm broadcasting today, their elders, past, present, and emerging, and any other elders who might be present, whether it be now or later, watching this vid. This is, was, and always will be Aboriginal land. Sovereignty was never ceded. This is stolen land. And I'd like to acknowledge that. And there's something on my roof which keeps distracting me, but we shall persevere. So the song today is In Your Eyes, and it is a song. It has 3 verses and a chorus. Those of you who are astute and realize that it was the start of COVID will have realized at that particular time the world was shrinking pretty much to the room that you were in and the video screen that you were communicating to the outside world through, unless you had other people in your house, which means that you can interact with them. Excuse me. So In Your Eyes came at a time when I was watching a lot of YouTube. And on YouTube, at that particular point in time, I was watching a lot of videos about a Japanese ice skater called Yuzu Hanyu. And Yuzu was an amazing skater. He was in top form at that particular point in time doing competition. This was before he retired and became professional. Retired from competition, that is. And when he was in competition, Yuzu used to put his Winnie the Pooh tissue box, which he always took with him everywhere, on the side of the skate rink to watch him skate. And so the song has a lot of influences from that, the idea of being watched by somebody else, of seeing yourself through somebody else's eyes. The movement of the song, with the glides and the essentially the leaps up, and the chorus goes up like a leap, and whereas the verses kind of glide like Yuzu around the ice. So there's a lot of the structure of the song that was very heavily influenced by watching Yuzu and his ice skating routines. When you are restricted to a smaller space and the world shrinks because everything is locked in and you're being restricted in your movements because of things like lockdown, regardless of who happens to be within your local space, regardless of how many people that might be or how many non-people other than human that might be. There is also this shrinking down into self-reflection, this going underground that happens. And there is a certain aspect of that that's also reflected in this song, In Your Eyes, this deep personal reflection. Because with In Your Eyes, the way that other people see you is never the way that you see yourself. And if other people are seeing something wonderful in you and you can't see that wonderful thing, the only way you can see what's wonderful is by putting yourself in this particular other space. Then you get lifted artificially high, in that your feet go off the ground. You are lifted up, just like Yuzu when he does his skates. He's not standing on the ground, he's going up, and if he lands wrong, he's going to fall. So there is certain of that aspect of the song. Normally when I'm in an intense emotional space, it will be poetry that I write. But in this particular instance, it came through very strongly as a song, not as a poem. I don't consider myself much of a singer in that it's not my vocation. I like singing, and I sing because I like it, and because it illustrates the song, and because it's my preferred means of communicating with the world around me. I prefer to do it in song. Like life is a musical, yeah? I prefer to do it in song. It's much nicer. And so In Your Eyes is very much this particular thing. It's me communicating with me through song. And In Your Eyes goes something like this. I'll see if I can. It's a certain attitude that you really need to sing it with that I find a little hard to get. It's that kind of Disney-esque attitude. Something that you could imagine coming through from some kind of Disney film. And so it can be hard sometimes to get, and if you don't get it quite right, the sound is affected because you have to sing it happy. And singing happy is not necessarily something that everybody can do. Putting something into your voice where it sounds happy. But I'm going to say that first because I'm not sure I'm going to get there. We shall see. We'll see. Okay, so it goes something along these lines. In your eyes, I can see a future. In your eyes, the world is full of wonder. And with you watching, I'm no longer afraid. I have wings and it feels like I'm flying. A newborn phoenix emerged from what's dying, and I can do anything. Life's always worth trying. In your eyes, I am strength and beauty. In your eyes, I am grace and courage. And with you watching, I am a vision sublime. I have wings and it feels like I'm flying. A newborn phoenix emerged from what's dying, and I can do anything. Life's always worth trying. In your eyes, I see understanding. In your eyes, the world is all embracing. And with you watching, life's a beautiful dance. I have wings and it feels like I'm flying. A newborn phoenix emerged from what's dying, and I can do anything, anything. I have wings and it feels like I'm flying. A newborn phoenix emerged from what's dying, and I can do anything. Life's always worth trying. In your eyes, in your eyes, in your eyes. Always comes down with a bang, because when we realize that's not how we see ourselves, there's a bit of a crash and a backlash, and we suddenly see every aspect that is worse in ourselves all at once in one intense thing. Singing that song is always a bit hit and miss for me, because it's got the lows to the highs, and like I said, I'm not a singer, although I enjoy singing, and you need to sing to a certain extent to illustrate the song. And my voice goes in and out, so that's just the reality of it. So this song ends with a crash, which means singing it, if I get myself into the state of high, I'm gonna crash. And that means that after I sing the song, once I'm finished with singing the song, there's always the reality of that to come to terms with. Because this is a song that's about emotion, it's about expressing emotion. Things get stuck in my throat, and they're hard to express. I normally use poetry to express my emotions, to get them out from under my skin. Otherwise, what I found when I had an intensity of emotion in secondary school, and things got really intense there, you know, when you're getting bullied nonstop and you're not getting the marks that you want to get, and life outside of school is also not great, and everything's starting to come in on you, and then the intensity of pressure means that you need a stress release. At that particular point in time, I started biting myself and scratching myself. Not for very long. I was able to get myself out of that very, very quickly, which is a good thing. But it was this expression of something, this intensity builds up and it needs an outlet. And before I found music, that is the path that I was starting to go down to. So this whole thing of when you have this bam, this falling down, this backlash, it needs expression. When you have this intensity of emotion and you don't have a way of normally expressing it, it'll either close in on itself and you'll get physically ill, or it needs to find some way, shape, or form of expression. And if it can't come through here in the terms of words, then it needs to come out in some other way. And I'm not an artist in the way that I don't draw or paint as my chosen method of expression. Basically, what I ended up getting was the intensity got channeled through words that I would write. Song for me came much later, and I never expected to write poetry either. Again, that came through later. What I wrote in the beginning was fiction. So In Your Eyes has an intense emotional ride that I have to ride out. It's like when you sing it and you push yourself into that artificial high, and you're trying to feel that with the song, and then that crash down. Because we try and see what's best in us. We try and look at ourselves and think of ourselves as, well, those of us who don't have a countenance that others would normally describe as pretty, who aren't used to hearing the words such as attractive or wonderful. We're an ordinary person, we're a scratchy person, we're a person that people may appreciate, but they don't generally see us as something bright and sparkly and shiny. When you're trying to see yourself in that light, it is difficult because the veneer is thin, and you crack it even a little bit, and you're going to fall into a doubling up or even a tripling up of seeing everything that's bad in yourself. So that song I normally do in tandem with a poem, and I'll be doing the poem next. The poem is called My Dark Lover, and so I'll talk all about that particular poem in my next vid. But I started doing it in tandem with that because I needed something to balance the song out. And now I wouldn't dream of just doing the song without doing the poem. And if I do them in tandem, I find I can do the song better because I can raise myself up and know I can handle the coming down. And I just want to pause and talk about singing for a while. And then I will close this bit and I'll do the other one. When it comes to singing, a lot of people in the Western society have this idea that if you don't have a commercially viable voice, then you shouldn't sing. And I don't agree with that at all. One of the things that I was fortunate to stumble across was bhakti, and was that kind of devotional practice which included kirtan music and singing for devotion, where the singing is about honoring the deity, honoring the spirit, the essence that you were singing to. It wasn't about your voice. Your voice was not important. And that, looking at that, hearing kirtan singers, especially kirtan singers from India, where they have all manner of different voices, and what the West might consider to be an attractive voice was not important in the least. It was the caliber of spirit that was on the sound that was important. And I try and remember that when I sing, because I know I don't always get the notes, and I know I'm sometimes flat, and I know that sometimes, in fact a lot of times, my rhythm and timing is off. I find that when I do my stuff, I can really only think of one thing at a time. It's hard for me to multitask when I'm singing. If I'm concentrating on getting the essence, my timing is going to suffer to a certain degree. I haven't got that being able to do both things at once yet. Whether or not it'll come with time, I'm not sure. But at the moment, that's the reality of it, so that's just the way it goes. And I get out of my own way, just like when I'm composing, and I let them come through. And I know I have, my range isn't tiny, it's sort of medium, I guess. So I know I can go down to a certain degree and I can go up to a certain degree, and I try and make sure that I can change the gears in my throat so that I can go from up and down. Sometimes mid-song that doesn't necessarily happen, and my throat can get scratchy a lot and easily, so sometimes that will interfere, and it will be, I'll have to go that peg higher or do something to overcome that, which can get in the way of the song. So I just wanted to point out that kind of stuff about singing, because I think it can be really important that people, if singing is something that brings joy to them, just like it brings joy to me, if singing is something we do to honor the spirit of what's around us, then the quality of our voice as far as commercialness goes is irrelevant. It's not why we're singing. And I think why we sing is important. So as I said, In Your Eyes is an emotion song. It was about voicing something that I felt really deeply at the time. This sort of dualistic notion of how I was seeing myself in comparison to how other people were telling me that they were seeing me at a particular time when I was feeling a little more isolated than normal because of this whole lockdown situation that was starting to happen at the very beginning of COVID. So yes, that's In Your Eyes, and thank you for watching, and I'll do the poem of My Dark Lover next, and you'll have a bit of an understanding of what I mean when I say I usually do the two in tandem when I talk about that particular poem. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.